Hello.
Hi, how are y'all today?
We're back. It's your co-host Amina Hines
Trishina Greer.
with Mental Health for All, and today we are going to cover a different mental health disorder. If you've been following us, you've seen videos on depression, suicide, schizophrenia, trauma, and there's one other, but just keep following us. So today we're going to cover multiple personality disorder, and has other names that you may have already heard before, like split personality disorder. That's a layman's term, and a more clinical term is dissociative identity disorder, and we'll get into why later on. But the definition of it is if someone has two or more distinct personality states or identities that are present, and each state has a relatively lasting pattern of perceiving, relating to, or thinking about the environment itself. So what does that mean in plain English? Basically, one person has different personalities. So it's a minimum of 2, but most people have around 10, and it can have up to 100 has been identified within one person. So when we say they have a pattern of relating to, perceiving, and thinking about the environment and themselves, that means each of these personalities responds to the world in their own unique way, so that when they're interacting with another individual, the individual is going to recognize that it's a different personality that they're dealing with. That's how different and distinct each personality is within that one individual. And Trishina is going to talk to you about the symptoms in a minute. But before we get to that, I just want to quickly share with you that this may not sound like something very serious, but however, dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder severely impacts a person's life. In fact, over 70% of people with this disorder attempt suicide. So for today, we're going to cover what these symptoms are and the cause. And later on, we'll talk to you about what's coming up next. Chatina.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many symptoms when it comes to multiple personalities. Remember, multiple personalities, one take over the other at different times. It depends on which situation that the person is in. Okay? Like Amanda says, it is more or 2 personalities that the person deals with. It's relating to thinking about self and the world. The disruption of these different personalities, like I just said, becomes very difficult for that person to deal with, because the person fluctuates. It's actually a fluctuation within that person, and the fluctuation is so depressing. It's so challenging to try to stay that one person, to try to balance these different personalities out, that you get tired. And when you get tired, that's when the suicidal thoughts come in place. That's when the substance abuse come in place. The drinking come in place, the cutting and self-injury come in place, because these different personalities come on so strong, like I said, that we don't know how to deal with it. And all we want to do is a relief from the personality that has taken over at that moment, because maybe we can't deal with that personality that has taken over at that moment. And we are so comfortable with that personality, especially if it's a negative personality. And we want to get rid of that feeling. We want to get rid of that personality. And that's when the cutting, the abuse of drugs, the suicidal, and everything else that we damage and hurt ourselves is because we try to make ourselves feel better. And we try to create a balance for these different personalities.
Okay. So you may be wondering, well, what causes multiple personality disorder? And it has been found that repeated, overwhelming, long-term trauma in childhood is the main reason why people develop this disorder in order to cope. And this trauma usually comes in the form of physical or sexual abuse and or neglect. So there you have it for today. Next time we meet, we will get into more details about how you can tell if someone has this disorder. They're very strong ways. And so just stay tuned. We thank you for joining us today. As always, like or share this video and come again. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. And next week, I'm going to share a little bit about myself and my dissociation, because I am, oh my honey, I am great at dissociating because I had to, because of the trauma and the sexual abuse and everything else that I had went through. I had to learn how to dissociate. So I will share a little bit of experience about myself next week. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.